Hi, this is Edward Mendoza. How long should you take to complete the OMSCS program? My thoughts coming up. Chronos Matrix. Focus on what matters most. Visually keep your goals in check and create new goals so you can stay on schedule. Watch your daily, weekly, and monthly results to stay focused. Free time optimization app. And welcome back. I wanted to do an outside video today because it's a really nice day out here in southern Thailand. The course overall can be completed in 2 years, right? Because you can take 2 courses in the fall, 2 courses in the spring, and then you can take 1 course in the summer. So if you do everything back to back, everything comes out perfectly. You get the minimum grade that you need in the core, and then all the other electives, you get your minimum C grade. You technically can complete the program at a Mach speed of 2 years. Now, of course, that's what they're going to promote online. That's what the school and everybody's going to recommend for you to do. But I don't really think that's viable for most people unless all you can do, all your time can be spent just working on the program. A lot of these courses are much more difficult than you're imagining. Some of the courses that might have been a little bit on the easier or medium level, they've cranked them up and they're very difficult now, which you won't see until the following semesters when they're being reported on OMS Central. So the idea that you're just going to take the class, pass everything with the perfect grade, and then move on, that is really, really not realistic unless you already have the 10 years, unless you've already put in the 10,000 hours in that particular class. And since you're going to probably take so many different types of courses, unless you're completely only taking the machine learning and specialization, or if you're only taking the software development kind of courses where it's all focused on from STP to SAD to which is at the HC, the high processing computing one, HPC course. If you're going to be focusing on some of them that are all already familiar with you, that you already understand the language being used in the course, you can pretty much do the homework without thinking about it really, really quickly. Sure, maybe that way you can do it, but it's what I think the whole point of getting a degree, unless you're just trying to get a salary bump, is to learn, right? So if you're going to take courses that you already know how to do without too much effort, I just don't think it's going to be very, very interesting for most people, right? And again, if all you need is the piece of paper, well, then go for it. But the amount that I've learned with this program has been absolutely amazing, and all the courses that I really pushed myself that I was not familiar with the content, that's what helped me develop the most amount of skills. Those were the courses that, looking in hindsight, have been the most valuable. And then you come across a couple of courses that you already know the language, you already understand what you're doing. When I took education technology, I already knew the language I was going to be using. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So that was the only course that, from the beginning to the end, it was the smoothest ride possible, because I already knew what I wanted to do, and I already had the provided skills required. Most courses aren't going to be like that, though, right? So a lot of people come from a strong software development background, and then they try and get into machine learning, and they're really hitting walls. They're dropping courses, they're having to repeat courses a couple of times. So I recommend, depending on what how much time you have available, I would recommend between 3 and 4 years. I think is much more realistic. So I'm almost at my halfway point in that amount of time, right? I'm like 2.5 years into it, and I've already completed half of the degree. But I'm not in a rush. If I'm not doing really well in the class, I've dropped a couple of classes already and just taken them again, because I'm like, well, I'd rather do it again and get a better grade and have a better understanding of what I'm doing the next time around. Now, for me, that's been very valuable, but because I can give myself that kind of an option with my work, where it's my businesses are automated anyway, so it's like, right? It's like I'm just traveling anyway. So for me in particular, it's I've preferred to take a longer route. Now there's some people that take up to 6 years. It's like, if they can only take one course per semester, they have to, if they drop a semester, they'll take off for another semester. So it depends. Some people have like big families. They have really, really intense jobs that, don't give them that kind of luxury to take their time with it either. So, of course, you have to kind of tailor it to what you're going to do. But I personally think those two extremes are too much, right? Something in the middle, something between 3 and 4 years. You have enough time to digest the content, to, retake a couple of classes that are really important, that are going to be really useful. So that's my personal recommendation. I think I'll probably be roughly around the 4-year mark when I'm finished with my degree, unless I decide to take a little bit longer. But as far as getting the courses that I wanted, getting the structure that I needed, it's like I kind of have that now. And the other really nice thing about the program is that since you're basically doing this completely on your own, right? Nobody's hand-holding you. Nobody's really helping you at all. You ask any kind of question and maybe you'll get answered, and you just have to do a lot of meditation to figure out what the solution is going to be. It trains your mind to learn on your own, so you don't really need that input from others anyway, right? So again, it's like I'm not completed. I haven't completed the program yet, and I'm already planning the next several courses, online courses, not OMSCS, just like other courses that I want to be doing. I have plenty of books that I'm going to be reading, so it's like I already have my continued education kind of ready, and since I've structured it in this way, I can continue it in that way, right? Because so many people, if they need the instructor, if they need it, if they have to have that classroom kind of environment, hearing other people, being around. Some people just like being in a room where other people are stressed out about the test, and it helps them. It keeps them more motivated. To each their own, right? But the problem with that kind of situation is that once you're outside of that environment, you're not going to stay and focus, on your own. So a nice example of this is I used to go to the gym in the States for several years, and then I started working out at home. So now when I did the traveling, it's like every country I go to, it's like I just work out in whatever hotel. Sometimes they do have a gym, but it's regardless. It's like I do a lot of body weight, lifting and that kind of stuff. So it's like I can kind of do this anywhere, and that's helped me. So to be that flexible, that I can kind of go anywhere or go back to the gym if required. So with the education, that's the same thing. It's like OMS also kind of prepares you to learn on your own, to figure out resolve your own problems on your own, and then to figure out how to get to that final place that you're trying to you're trying to reach with your work, right? Because there's so many kind of projects before I did OMS that it's like I would hit these hurdles, and if I didn't have somebody else kind of walking me through it, like, well, what do I do when I get to this point? I couldn't move forward, kind of a thing. And now, no, it's like I've really learned how to think like an engineer and just break problems down in the way engineers do. And that's really kind of the goal that you want to get. So can you get there, with lots of people around you? And, I think it'll take you longer, and you might still always kind of depend on that, right? Versus if you just learn to do it yourself, it's like it's a skill that you're always going to take with you anywhere. And then it can generalize into other areas, which is also very helpful. Now it's like I can look at other problems in other areas, and it's like I can kind of start breaking, solutions down and make things more manageable, and then start stacking, workarounds in any particular problem until, I get the desired result. So it's been a really good process, honestly, of doing all this stuff completely on your own. So, and that's why I keep stressing it. It's like, this is, if you want if you want a very friendly, open, social environment, this is not the path to take. This is, unless you already have that at home, unless you already have like a very big, you have a big family, you have a lot of kids, just some time, on your own at nights, while you're coding, if that's what you want, well then, then that'll be great. But everything that's a problem and is stressful also has its benefits. So for me, it's been great because I have been getting that social environment, while I've been traveling. so I haven't. That's also one thing that's I recommend to people. It's like, just change your environment if it's not working for you to stay focused and complete the degree. Because once it's done, I mean, yeah, it's going to take you several years, but once it's done, you're going to look back on it. You're not really going to remember, oh, this took me this amount of years. Or, I mean, I got my associate's degree. It took me 2.5. I got my bachelor's in literally like a year and a half. Did I really care that my bachelor's was much faster because I already did so much work prior? No, it really didn't matter. And I screamed through it. And I had one semester, I remember with my undergrad, I got like 18 credits in one semester because I was just slamming so much, and my GPA was high enough that it's like I got the approval to take more courses. And then when I finished, I'm like, what was the rush, right? It's like I could have taken a couple more semesters. There was no rush. Like when you're in it, you're just thinking, I just want to finish as quickly as possible, right? But if there's no need, it's like, these are skills. I'm going to be programming and working on machine learning algorithms and just doing all this stuff until I'm not around anymore. So what's my rush? Okay, so I take a couple extra years, or I don't, right? Or I speed up the process. The whole point is to learn and to enjoy what you're doing. As long as those two are being met, I mean, if you can, right? With my company, everything's set up for me that I can do that in that way. So I'm really enjoying it. So that's what I recommend. Somewhere around 3 to 4 years, I think, is more realistic for most of us. So anyway, have a great day.